For 50 years, the pickup truck was the one machine in America you could count on. Buy it, work it, keep it. Simple as that. Not anymore. And the manufacturers know it. Consumer Reports just finished collecting reliability data from the owners of roughly 380,000 vehicles. Buried in that data is something the ads will never tell you. Brand new trucks are seizing their engines on the highway, draining their own batteries overnight, rolling away after they've been put in park. These aren't 10-year-old work trucks with 250,000 miles on them. These are 2026 models still wearing paper plates. Stack it up. The average new truck payment now runs anywhere from $700 to $1,100 a month. And on a pension, that's not a payment. That's a hostage situation. Then add the dealer visits, the recall letters in the mailbox, the trade-in value falling through the floor the moment a truck gets a reputation. That's the real price tag, and it never shows up on the window sticker. So today, I'm ranking the 17 worst pickup trucks you can buy in 2026. We start with the money pits, and we climb all the way up to machines that federal safety regulators have flagged for failures that can put you in a ditch. And number one just earned the worst reliability score ever recorded for a pickup truck. Not the worst this year, the worst, period. Dealers are still moving them off the lot with a smile. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which trucks to walk past and why the paid-off truck sitting in your driveway might be the smartest vehicle in the county. Let's get into it. Number 17, Ford Maverick. The Maverick was supposed to be the sensible one. Small, affordable, a hybrid option, an honest price. Here's what the brochure leaves out. More than 80,000 Mavericks from 2025 and 2026 are under a federal recall because the park module can fail to lock the truck into park. You shift into park, you walk away, and the truck is free to roll. The government's own recall notice calls it what it is, a rollaway risk. That's not a worn-out linkage on some high-mileage trade-in. That's a software module deciding whether your parked truck stays parked. And that's the hidden truth about this little truck. The shifter isn't connected to anything. It's a request sent to a computer, and Ford is patching that computer over the air like it's a phone. If you already own one, the fix costs you nothing. Run your VIN, get the update done, and confirm it in writing. If you're shopping, make the seller show you proof every recall is closed before a dime changes hands. Because the update is free, but a truck rolling down the driveway into traffic is a bill nobody can calculate for you. Number 16, Ford Ranger. 1 year ago, Consumer Reports ranked the Ranger the most reliable midsize truck you could buy. This year, it dropped to below average. Trucks don't forget how to be reliable in 12 months. Something else is going on, and the mechanism tells the story. A modern Ford isn't a truck with some computers in it. It's a computer network with wheels, and every module on that network has to keep talking or things start shutting off. Ford just recalled over 4 million trucks, the Ranger included, because a software fault in the trailer module can interrupt that network. When it does, your trailer lights and trailer brakes can drop out behind you while you're rolling. Think about that mechanism for a second. Nothing broke. No wire chafed, no fuse blew. The software simply stopped answering, and a few thousand pounds of trailer went dark at highway speed. The recall update itself is free. What isn't free is life with a network truck after the warranty ends, because chasing electronic gremlins at a dealership runs $400 to $900 a visit, and gremlins rarely travel alone. Keep the recalls closed, and if you tow, test your trailer lights every single hookup. Trust the bulbs, not the badge. Number 15, Chevrolet Colorado. When Chevy redesigned the Colorado in 2023, they made a decision that tells you everything about where trucks are headed. One engine, a 2.7-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, and that's it, top to bottom of the lineup. A lot of you have a name for that setup, and I've stopped arguing with it. Here's the pattern I keep seeing with small turbo engines asked to do truck work. The turbo is what makes the power, so the turbo works constantly. Towing, hauling, headwinds, hills, it's spooled up and cooking its own bearings in heat an old V6 never generated. The first couple of years of any redesign are when the factory finds its mistakes, and they find them on the customer's dime. Early third-generation Colorados have been no exception, and the owner-reported data on this platform has not been kind. When a turbo lets go outside of warranty, you're looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500, depending on where you live and who does the work. The engine that has to work hardest is the one you least want doing all the work alone. Chevy gave you no other choice, and that was their decision, not yours. Number 14, GMC Canyon. Same frame, same 2.7 turbo, same everything as the Colorado, wrapped in nicer plastic and a bigger number on the sticker. So here's my challenge to you. Walk into the GMC store and price out a Canyon AT4, then walk across the lot and price the Colorado it's built from. Ask the salesman straight out what the extra money bought you in the engine bay. Then watch him change the subject to the leather and the screen. The ownership math backs up your suspicion. Cost projections on this truck run close to $9,500 in maintenance and repairs over the first 10 years, with better than 1 in 4 odds of at least one repair north of $500 along the way. You're paying premium money for the same hardware and the same risk. The badge on the tailgate doesn't reinforce a single bearing. If a mid-size GM truck is what you want, at least refuse to pay twice for it. Number 13, Toyota Tacoma. This one hurts, and I know it, because half of you have a Tacoma story that ends with the words, "never left me stranded." That truck, the one that earned the legend, is not the truck on the lot today. The 2024 redesign threw out the old formula. In came a turbocharged 4-cylinder, a hybrid system, and an interior full of screens. And out went the simple, under-stressed drivetrain that made the name. Consumer Reports' own owner surveys tell the rest. Early owners of the new generation have reported transmission problems, infotainment glitches, and build rattles the old truck would never have tolerated. And the first 2 years of this redesign are no longer the safe bet a Tacoma used to be. The name stayed, the engineering underneath it didn't. Meanwhile, these trucks are leaving the lot at full price and shedding $8,000 to $15,000 of value in the first 2 years, while a clean last-generation Tacoma just sits there holding its money like a Toyota is supposed to. Keep it simple, and it'll last longer. Toyota used to be the company that said that, and if a Toyota landing at number 13 surprised you, hold on. There's another Toyota waiting near the top of this list, and what's happening inside its engine is the reason this countdown ends in the words, "death trap." Number 12, Jeep Gladiator. The Gladiator is a Wrangler with a bed, and everything charming about that sentence is also everything wrong with it. Park a 3-year-old Gladiator next to a last-generation Tacoma with the same 40,000 miles, and watch what each one has needed. The Tacoma has needed tires and oil. The Gladiator's file tells a different story. Owners keep reporting suspension complaints, electrical faults, and batteries that give up early, and the reliability surveys have never had much good to say about this platform. Same miles, same jobs, 2 very different repair histories, and only one of them was designed as a truck first. The solid front axle that makes it a mountain goat off-road is also why the steering can develop a mind of its own on the highway, and sorting out a shimmy in one of these runs, $800 to $1,500, once a shop starts replacing parts to chase it. You're paying truck money for a toy's maintenance schedule. If the doors never come off in your driveway, the Gladiator was never built for you. Number 11, Ford F-150 Lightning. Here's the mechanism nobody explains at the dealership. When a manufacturer abandons a design, the market abandons it faster, and Ford is already phasing out this generation of Lightning in favor of a different truck with a gas range extender. That means every Lightning on the lot right now is a first-generation product the factory itself has decided was the wrong answer. The recall record hasn't helped. Over 100,000 Lightnings are covered by the same park module recall as the Maverick, the truck that can fail to lock itself in park, and the trailer module recall touched this truck too. A retired pharmacist I know in Knoxville bought one to be his last vehicle. He loves how it drives, and he's gotten 3 recall letters in a single year, and when he asked about trade-in value out of curiosity, the number was so far below what he paid that he laughed so he wouldn't do something else. The math is simple and cold. First-generation technology, an orphaned design, and software doing safety-critical jobs. Any one of those is a risk. This truck is all 3 at once. Number 10, Rivian R1T. The pitch was that a fresh company with no bad habits would out-engineer Detroit. The scoreboard says otherwise. Consumer Reports has ranked Rivian the least reliable brand in its entire survey, dead last, out of every manufacturer they track. Owners report drive unit failures and steering pulls. But the failure that should stop you cold is the humble 12-volt battery. On your old truck, that's a hardware store part and a 10-minute swap. On an R1T, when that auxiliary battery dies, the whole truck can go dark, and the repair can involve the wiring harness, not just the battery. The battery and the diagnosis alone run $350 to $600 before anyone even touches a harness. And until it's fixed, your $70,000 truck is a locked filing cabinet. A truck that can be disabled by its smallest battery is not a work vehicle. It's a beta test, and you're the one paying to run it. Number 9, GMC Sierra 1500. The Sierra shares its bones with the Silverado, so it inherits the same V8 problems we're going to get into at number 8. But GMC found a way to add its own layer of misery, and it lives in the fanciest trims. Here's the pattern showing up in driveways all over the country. Denali owners, people who paid $80,000 for a truck, are walking out in the morning to a dead battery. The luxury features are the culprit: the massage seats, the multi-camera trailering system, the power everything. Some of it keeps drawing current after the truck is shut off, and overnight it bleeds the battery flat. $80,000, and the owner is standing there holding jumper cables like it's a 30-year-old farm truck. Except the farm truck had an excuse. If a brand new vehicle has ever left you jump-starting it in your own driveway, put the model year in the comments. The people reading them deserve to know how common this really is. Everything on the list so far costs you money. Starting with the next group, the stakes change, because from here on up, these trucks carry federal recalls for failures that can hurt somebody, including a module that can physically catch fire while you're towing. Number 8, Chevrolet Silverado, 1500. America's favorite truck has a heart problem, and Chevy has known about it for years. Here's the mechanism, plain and simple. To squeeze out fuel economy numbers, the V8 shuts down half its cylinders when it thinks you're not working it. Little locking pins inside the lifters do the switching, thousands of times per drive. When one of those pins sticks, and they stick, the lifter collapses. The engine starts misfiring violently, push rods bend, and the camshaft starts chewing itself apart from the inside. That's not wear and tear. That's a fuel economy gadget grinding up an engine design that was bulletproof before anyone bolted it on. Nobody in the comments of this channel asked for cylinder deactivation. The regulators asked for it, the accountants approved it, and you inherited it. Catch it outside the warranty, and a lifter and cam job runs $2,500 to $4,500 depending on where you live and how much damage the shrapnel did first. If lifters sound expensive, hold that thought, because the heavy-duty trucks coming up next fail in ways that make a lifter job look like a bargain. Number 7, GMC Sierra 2500 HD. People buy a 3/4-ton truck for one reason. It has to show up for work, every time loaded. The owner surveys say this one doesn't. In Consumer Reports data, the Sierra HD sits among the lowest-scoring heavy-duty trucks they track, and the complaints cluster in exactly the places a work truck can't afford them. Diesel owners report the Allison transmission lagging and slamming into gears like a worn-out trade-in on trucks with delivery plastic still on the carpet. And behind the engine, the diesel emissions equipment, the fluid injection system, and the particulate filter keeps failing and putting trucks into limp mode. When that emissions hardware fails outside of warranty, bills run $1,500 to $4,000, and the truck sits while you wait on parts. Downtime is the tax nobody prices in. A work truck in the shop isn't a truck. It's a payment on a driveway ornament. Now, we're about to cross into the last stretch of this list, and I'll tell you straight, this is the part of the video the manufacturers would pay to have taken down. If this channel has ever saved you from a bad buy, tap subscribe, because I make one of these for every corner of this industry, and you want the next one before you're standing on a dealer lot, not after. Number 6, Ram 2500. A 3/4-ton Ram exists to pull. That's the whole job description. So here's my challenge to you, and I mean this literally. Walk into the showroom and ask the salesman why the factory recalled this truck, because, in the government's own words, the trailer brakes may fail, not the cabin lights, not the radio. The trailer brakes on a truck sold specifically to drag 15,000 pounds of fifth wheel down a mountain grade. Watch him reach for his phone, because the recall is real. The trailer tow module was improperly designed, and it can let the trailer lights go dark and the trailer brakes quit, and owner letters only started going out this spring, which means thousands of these trucks are towing right now with owners who have no idea. The fix costs nothing at the dealer. Skipping it puts you on the highway in a $75,000 to $95,000 truck with the one system that keeps your load from shoving you through an intersection running on faith. Check the VIN before the next hookup. Every time, every truck, no exceptions. Number 5, Ram 3500. Everything I just said about the 2500 it applies here, on a bigger truck, pulling bigger loads, but the 3500 that earns its own spot for what's happening on the dash. Ram replaced the gauges with a screen, and here's what that mechanism means when it goes wrong. On these trucks, a software error can blank the entire instrument cluster while you're driving. No speed, no gear indication, no warning lights. The recall notice itself says a display that can't show critical information increases the risk of a crash, and there's a second recall on top of it for the brake warning light showing you the wrong thing. Picture it, a dually 20,000 pounds of trailer behind it coming down a grade, and the driver's only window into what the truck is doing just went black. 40 years ago, a failed speedometer cable cost you a needle. Today, once the warranty's gone, that screen is a $1,200 to $2,500 part, and until it's replaced, the biggest truck Ram sells is flying blind. 4 trucks left. One can catch fire while towing, one can't see out of its own windows, one can shut its engine off at 70 miles an hour. And number 1 did something no pickup has ever done before. Number 4, Chevrolet Silverado HD. Everything wrong with the Sierra HD is wrong here too, because under the badges, they're the same truck. Same transmission complaints, same diesel emissions failures, same bottom shelf scores in the owner surveys. But the Silverado HD brings something of its own to this list, and it's the reason the word fire is in this video. There's a federal recall on these trucks because the trailer brake module can overheat, melt, and catch fire. Not a warning light, not a glitch. An electrical component physically burning on a truck built for the express purpose of dragging heavy loads long distances. A dairy farmer I know outside Green Bay tows feed and stock with his nearly every day of his life. When his recall letter came, he read it at the kitchen table and then went out and unplugged the trailer until the dealer could see him. That's the correct response. The recall fix is free, and a truck fire doesn't leave you a repair bill. It leaves you an insurance claim, a lost load, and a walk home. If you're HD tows for a living, that letter is not junk mail. Move it to the top of the pile. Number 3, Tesla Cybertruck. Strip away the internet arguments and look at the pattern in the owner reports, because it's the same story over and over. Drivers can't see out of this truck. The thick pillars and that sloped stainless body create blind spots big enough to lose a minivan in, so the design leans on camera feeds to fill the gaps. And the second half of the pattern? Those same owners report the cameras lagging and going blank, along with software glitches, electrical faults, and build quality complaints, on top of a recall list that has grown steadily since launch. A truck that needs its screens to see, wearing screens that owners say can't be trusted. That's not a design philosophy. That's a wager, made with your 70 to 100 grand, depending on the trim. 50 years of truck engineering figured out windows. This thing traded them for a look. And still, a truck you can't see out of is only number 3. The last two get worse. Number 2, Toyota Tundra. Put two Tundras side by side and the whole story tells itself. A 2015 with the old 5.7 V8 and 200,000 miles needs an oil change and nothing else. A new generation Tundra with the 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 and 40,000 miles might need an engine. Inside that new engine, main bearings have been spinning in the block. When a bearing spins, oil pressure falls to nothing, and the engine can seize, and owners have reported it happening at highway speed. Toyota first blamed manufacturing debris and started replacing engines. Here's the part that should end the conversation. Owners have reported replacement engines failing the same way. You don't fix a design problem by installing the design again. Add the recall for backup cameras going blank and another for tonneau covers tearing off the bed at speed into traffic behind you. A retired firefighter I know in Boise bought one of these new, planning for it to be his last truck. He spent 30 years trusting equipment with his life, and now he listens to his engine the way he used to listen to a burning building. Out of warranty, that engine is a $15,000 to $25,000 replacement. On the old 5.7, that money bought the whole truck, twice. An engine that can quit at 70 miles an hour and it still isn't number 1. That should tell you what's coming. Number 1. Ram 1500. In the newest Consumer Reports data, the Ram 1500 scored 5 out of 100. That is the worst reliability score ever recorded for a pickup truck. Not the worst of 2026, the worst ever. Here's the mechanism behind a number like that, because a 5 doesn't come from one flaw. It comes from a cascade. Start at the door handle. The keyless entry system keeps drawing power all night, drains the battery, and a low battery in a truck, this computerized, sets off a chain of electrical faults from one end of the harness to the other. Move to the engine bay. The new twin-turbo straight 6 has been melting catalytic converters and leaking coolant into the intake. And coolant where air belongs is how engines die. Buyers who fled back to the returning Hemi 5.8 found lifter tick and broken exhaust manifold bolts waiting for them. Now add the recalls. A trailer brake module that can catch fire, an instrument cluster that can go blank while you drive. Battery to engine to brakes to dash. That's not a truck with problems. That's the full journey of this list, money pit to death trap, in one vehicle. And the recall notices carry the government's own words about crash risk and fire. The fix for this one costs you nothing at all. So here's the truth this whole list has been pointing at. 17 brand new trucks. And the common thread was never one bad company. It was an industry that traded simple, proven iron for turbos, screens, and software, and then let the customer do the testing. You knew. Every one of you who kept the old truck, paid it off, and ignored the salesman calling it outdated. The data just spent 20 minutes agreeing with you. That paid-off truck in your driveway doesn't drain its own battery, doesn't need a software update to stay in park, and has never once gone blank at 70 miles an hour. Take care of it, because they are not making it again. And if you want to protect that truck from the worst feature the new ones tried to normalize, watch my video on how to permanently shut off auto start stop. It's on your screen right now, and your starter will thank you. I'll see you there.